In today's video, we're gonna explore 9 of the challenges that Blender has to overcome in order to move closer to becoming the best 3D software. But please take what I say with a grain of salt. Without further ado, let's jump right in. First and foremost, there is no denying that Blender has made huge leaps in the last few years, whether it be in its user experience, UI, performance, or even speed across the board, and in all aspects, we all can see that Blender is making strides to becoming the most popular 3D software in the world, if it is not already. On the last Blender conference, Tom Rosendale mentioned as part of his opening speech the next step for the future of the internet, which is the metaverse. He mentioned that Blender is gonna try to position itself in the middle of all of that and ride the wave of the new era of the metaverse and AI. That's why he launched Blender Lab. Not to mention the Blender community is now stronger than ever, and this is all a sentiment to how much Blender is evolving, with awesome new features every single update like Eevee, Cycles X, and the introduction of the powerful geometry nodes. If you stopped using Blender during the 2.7 lineup and you launch it today, you will be shocked because Blender today is truly a different breed. Today, I can safely say that Blender can handle any project, like movies and video games, and even AR and VR. Ton also mentioned in the same conference when he was asked when Blender would become industry standard and when it will be adopted in big production pipelines, and he answered, Blender devs are not focused on working with huge studios right now, but something that we can't dispute is that although Blender excels in many things, it also lacks in many areas. And this might be because it needs more money, or maybe because Blender is just the jack of all trades, which is a topic that is discussed in forums all the time. So today, we're gonna address the elephant in the room and talk about some of the shortcomings that are facing Blender, or I would say the areas that Blender can become better at over time. So today, we're gonna cover 9 challenges that Blender has to overcome to go to the next level. And we're gonna start with something that a lot of people have been complaining about for a long time, which is the Lackluster Retopology tools. Retopology is the process of simplifying the geometry of a mesh to make it cleaner and easier to work with. Although Retopology in Blender saw a lot of improvements over the last few years, compared to other 3D software, Blender needs to step up its game. Like, as it stands right now, retopologizing an object in Blender requires utilizing specific tools, including B-Surfaces, F2, and Loop Tools add-ons. The process involves utilizing the shrink wrap modifier and the annotate tool in the B-Surface add-on to create a new geometry on the surface of the sculpted object. You can customize the subdivisions and activate the mirror modifier for symmetrical meshes. The annotate tool allows you to draw strokes, to add new surfaces, and connect new geometry to selected edges, always ensuring the strokes are drawn in the same direction. In addition to Blender's default tools, such as extruding and adding loop cuts that are also used in the retopology process. Despite its many features and capabilities, the process of retopology can still be time-consuming and challenging for some users. To overcome this, having dedicated tools specifically designed for this task in a dedicated section would make it easier for artists and designers to create clean, efficient topology for their models. Tools similar to third-party programs such as Instamesh, but as a dedicated tool for retopology that would be shipped with Blender by default. This free tool offers edge flow control, which sets it apart from the internal remesh quadriflow and voxel remesh options seen in Blender. Now moving on to hard surface modeling in Blender, which is not bad by any means. Actually, my first exposure to Blender hard surface modeling was through some of the best Blender add-ons for modeling like Meshmachine and Hard Ops. Coming from 3ds Max at the time, it was surprising to me how easy it is to create extremely intricate modeling with seemingly little effort. But we can all agree that it is lacking multiple but small very useful features that can speed up the process and make our life much more easier. Currently, Blender comes with a Bool tool add-on that allows for quick union, intersection, and different Boolean operations. However, native Blender tools are not enough to fulfill the needs of many hard surface modelers, that's why they have to use add-ons. To help improve the workflow for this type of modeling, Blender could benefit from incorporating some of the features found in third-party add-ons like Grid Modeler, Rantools, Zen Barbecue, Hard Ops, Box Cutter, Meshmachine, Fluent, and so on. For example, simple add-ons such as Grid Modeler offer features like slicing, bowling, shape and area functions, and pipe creation to allow you to easily draw shapes on objects using customizable grids. This add-on is designed to speed up modeling, making it ideal for creating game assets and hard surface objects. Another example is Rantools, which is all-in-one add-on that provides various tools for different needs, including hard surface modeling. But the P-Cutter in particular is a powerful solution for hard surface modeling and non-destructive modeling, which allows you to perform Boolean operations by drawing shapes with full control over placement and appearance. Generally speaking, incorporating these types of features into Blender by default would greatly improve the hard surface modeling workflow for artists and make Blender a more competitive 3D software. Also, performance is very important for a 3D program when it comes to physics simulations. Blender simulations such as fluid and particle simulations are powerful but still have room for improvement. These simulations need to be updated and optimized so that you can produce more complex and accurate effects in a short period of time. Additionally, Blender's physics simulations also need to be more user-friendly, with easier to use interfaces and more intuitive controls. By improving the performance and usability of simulations, Blender can better compete with other 3D software in this area and provide a more streamlined experience for you. This can help attract new users and keep existing ones engaged and productive. Overall, the updates of Blender simulations will help to enhance the software's reputation amongst professionals and increase its edge in competition, especially when it comes to bridging the gap between important software such as Houdini. But apparently, in other areas, Blender developers are on the right track, as in the 3.5 version, they have implemented simulation nodes which will allow you to create complex simulations without the need for scripting or programming knowledge. This feature, known as geometry nodes, is still in its infancy compared to software such as Houdini, but it has the potential to become a major selling point for Blender in the future. By continuing to develop and improve this feature, Blender can provide you with a more accessible and flexible way to create complex physics simulations and sets itself apart with this important feature. Regarding cloth simulation, making the default settings give more clothy-like physics to the mesh out of the box would be a great start into making the physics properties more user-friendly. Also, making the simulation parameters adjustable via border sliders would avoid beginners crashing their PC while experimenting, which is a nice thing. For now, a great option for creating cloth inside Blender is an add-on called Simply Cloth, which is a fantastic tool with around 10,000 sales, which really tells how important this is. It allows you to create cloth for any situation, and it also comes with a ton of ready presets that you can use to save time and effort. Another aspect of the software that definitely needs more attention is compositing. Other than not being the most intuitive workflow, Blender's compositor is lacking quick responsiveness or real-time feedback, which can make the process of compositing large scenes, especially large-scale projects, very tedious. But the good news is that they are currently working on a project they announced last year in this Blender blog post titled Real-Time Compositor. The Blender Real-Time Compositor is a new project that aims to develop a compositor backend using GPU acceleration for real-time interaction. The initial phase of the project will be dedicated to enabling the Viewport Compositor, which is a new shading option that integrates the output of the compositor editor node directly into the viewport. This means you don't have to wait for a full render to be done to start compositing, and will enable you to preview the style in real time. The blog post on the Blender website explains how to access the experimental branch and enable the viewport compositing. The post also includes demonstrations of the real-time compositor in action, showing how it can be used for watercolor textures, product visualization, and external resources. Now jumping to something else which is more important. In order for Blender to compete with the wide range of top-tier 3D programs in the industry, one of the most important aspects that Blender has to improve upon is texture painting. Of course, software such as Max and Maya are not the best when it comes to texture painting, because the industry is already using Substance Painter, which is the industry standard tool when it comes to this task. So when we take a look at Substance Painter, we can easily spot the gaps in Blender's painting tools. Some suggestions for improvement include adding a layer-based texture painting workflow, also providing more advanced brush options for greater precision and control, improving the interface for organizing and managing textures, and incorporating smart materials which could greatly enhance the user experience and especially the workflow when it comes to texturing inside Blender. Third-party tools are actually trying to add these features. For example, one of the add-ons we talked about in a dedicated video is called Ravage. It is an add-on that assists with material texturing and shading, making PBR texturing in Blender more efficient. It uses a layer-based structure to make rearranging nodes easier, and it offers access to a material library, both local and online. Other add-ons for creating materials and texturing is Fluent Materializer, which comes with more than 110 nodes ready to be combined to make thousands of materials, which is really cool. This allows you to make and bake awesome custom materials using a polished procedural workflow that was designed for practical use cases. While tools like Ravage might not provide the same experience as a tool like Substance Painter, it still provides a useful and efficient solution for texture painting and texturing within Blender projects until we get a native tool that can do that in the future. When it comes to mapping and packing your object's UVs for texturing, you can notice that Blender's Smart UV Unwrapper isn't that smart at the end of the day. Blender's packing algorithm often leaves gaps between and within the UV islands, resulting in a waste of space and therefore bad texture resolution for your detailed objects. And similar to every other aspect we mentioned in this video, what makes Blender as an open source software very powerful is that there is an alternative in almost every case. One example is using an add-on called Uvpackmaster 3, which offers advanced and customizable UV packing algorithms to optimize the use of texture space. It also provides a variety of tools for manual adjustments, such as the ability to rotate, scale, and reposition UV islands. Furthermore, it features a user-friendly interface, making it accessible to users of all skill levels. But the thing is, it would be convenient to have tools like that shipped by default within Blender, rather than having to get them through add-ons. Other options also include Zen Uv and UV Toolkit. The last thing I'm going to talk about in this video is Blender's rigging and animation tools that can be improved in several ways to better compete with Maya. Blender has a range of rigging tools, but they may not as extensive as Maya's. Improving and expanding Blender's rigging tools could make it a more competitive option when it comes to rigging characters. Also, Maya has a strong reputation for its motion graphics capabilities. While Blender is still developing in this area, there are some simple actions animators often perform in their animation process, such as editing the object's origin or pivot point, for example. In Blender, it requires multiple steps. In the edit mode, you have to select vertices, set 3D cursor on selected, switch to object mode, set origin to 3D cursor, or press Ctrl plus Shift plus Alt plus C, which isn't very convenient. And this is just a small example of how Blender can improve in this area. But the good news is that Blender is constantly improving through very successful and regular updates. I would argue that it is one of the most actively updated 3D software on the market today, which is a really good news. Blender is now on the path towards success, and its ongoing development efforts making it a stronger software day by day. On a side note, if you are interested in the add-ons I mentioned in this video, you will find the necessary links in the description. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You can also check some of our previous videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.